where he's been applying primarily the GenCade model, but when they came to really evaluate the complicated nature of the tidal inlets bypassing and how that gets represented in GenCade, he really needed a lot more information coming from the inlet sediment budget aspects and to feed into the inlet reservoir model portion of GenCade. And so through the district, they ended up working together to develop a coastal modeling system setup for Absecon Inlet, and they were using that to help inform these pathways and the budget for those different features. And so I said, this is a really great example of combining two tools to really address a multi-project CSRM and navigation aspect of a core area, not quite a region, but definitely at scale, including more than one project. So this is a really a great showcase of these things in action. So with that, I will turn it over to Yen. Before I turn it over, just a reminder for folks, if you do need PDH credits, we're happy to set those up for you. You can just send me an email afterwards. Thank you. And Yen, go ahead and take it away.
Yep. Thank you, Tanya, for your introduction. And I believe you already spoke about motivation and the significance of this type of study. My name is Yan Ding, and I'm a research civil engineer at Coastal Hydraulics Lab. Some of the results show this kind of methodology from this reimbursable project, working with Philadelphia District. My point of contact in the Philadelphia District is Mr. Robert Humpson, very nice guy. And behind we have a team, Dr. Harry Furwell and Mr. Watson, Keith Watson. Let me get the slides going. For some reason. Okay. My most recent focus on coastal protection practice is to provide a capability of long-term and regional shoreline evolution capability. I'm targeted this kind of capability long-term, probably years, decade to century, and using shoreline simulation model, GenCade. One definite challenge is to estimate the sediment bypass cross inlets and get an estimate of bypass rate from updraft to downdraft. And challenge also is not only this hydrodynamic conditions, but also the types of inlets. We have different types of inlet. Some are very well developed, some just started. So today I just bring up a kind of example. Hopefully can give a kind of a general way to assess or provide simulations of continuous shoreline along the barrier islands. I also emphasize the capability to simulate structural effect on the sediment transport and the shoreline change, which is very important. Structure, I'm talking about a hard structure and non-structure measure, nourishment, bypass, dredging, and so on. So believe me, this kind of model capability is very feed the need of planning and management of coastal protection measures. This is an example for GenCade shoreline evolution model results. I used this example to show you, the results are very simple. It's a shoreline variation along this island, Absecon Island at Atlantic City in New Jersey, and also this time vary force of this directly from the long-shore transport, but long-shore transport induced by wave current and water surface elevation variation. Another example is we have a very good two-dimensional or multi-dimensional coast process model, such like coast modeling system, CMS. It provides a very wide range of spatial temporal change of physical forces and sediment transfer pattern and morphology change. So this is just a very short video show morphology change and background and color contour. Red is deposition, blue is erosion, and arrows as sediment transport flux. So you can say the driven by tide and waves, and you have stone included. The change of morphology will be significant during storm, but morphology change is induced by multiple forces like tidal driving sediment transport and long-shore sediment transport by wave and current. So the two models have different principal features. First, this is the chart I often use for explain GenCade. GenCade is a one-dimensional model, one-line model, very classic coastal engineering application software, including a very simplified beach morphology and wave dynamic process from the shoaling, diffraction, and wave breaking. But I also including this wave inlet reservoir model. I will give a little bit detail about it because I would like to say this talk is about interaction of the three models, GenCade Inlet Reservoir Model and the CMS. Inlet Reservoir Model is a very much a parametric model to modeling this sediment exchange between shoal bar and through the inlet. So your guy probably familiar with this conceptual charts to show how updraft sediment pass through the chain of morphology elements to the downdraft. And we have a so-called equilibrium model can simulate the volume change based upon needs of equilibrium states in a stabilized situation, which really we don't know. However, another thing is because you want to simulate bypassing, you need to know this sediment bypass location to bypass. So the locations of attachment bar for the sediment bypass are very much important parameters such like this. So if you have an inlet, I use the internal reservoir, Indian River Inlet example to show you if you have a hydrosurvey map. From this, you can identify elements of inlet morphology like shoals, channel, elbow shoal, and bar. This bypass bar and other side and judgment bar. So use this conceptual parametric model, we can quantify how much sediment can pass from updraft to downdraft. And through this chain, also give results of volumetric evolution of elements. This is CMS model is using a two-dimensional governing equation to simulate flow wave sediment transport bed changing. The good thing is give you a clear pattern of sediment transport and pathway, then tell you those dynamic variations on space. This just tells us, okay, nowadays we don't have a universal model. We have to use a fleet of models to solve our problems, such like this chart divided by scale and in space and time. So we know our CMS can simulate work simulation, volumetric change can tell us increasing rate of those morphology features. So it's definitely good if we can use two model and benefit each other. But right now, it's a GenCade benefit from this CMS. This is simulation of this inlet is Absecon. We started this project 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. Focus is to understanding erosion mechanism, erosion hotspot here in the north end of Absecon Island, and also try to build a models, GenCade model and the CMS model, to simulate the shoreline around this whole area. So we have two model results for this. The goal finally is to try to get some alternatives to maintain template of this beach. Start with construct shorelines. Those basic things I want to say is that I need to emphasize that this is very important. You need to from different sources. And nowadays we can using districts monitor non-transect results, but soon we can also use satellite imager. Those management and analyze the history data is really key to achieve this shoreline simulation. I use this and again, this historical event, this bookkeeping information is very important. Good thing is SMS can handle this digitized, so you can edit to the SMS, edit to the GenCade model relatively easy. So now we have a two-dimensional model, same as it's focus on this area, Absecon around Absecon, and refine the mesh over this erosion hotspot. You can say the zoom in Absecon inlet, including structure here and back bay. Mr. Robert Hampson did a very good job. I think the back bay mesh even better to be used in the future for back bay project. So snapshot to show the results from the CMS. sediment. And current, you can say the model tells us strong longshore current and the tidal current coexist, and this results snapshot of sediment transport. This show car contours the concentration and with arrows for the fluxes. In fact, the two-dimensional model already tell us you have acceleration of sediment movement to the southwest. So it took sand away from this area. This area, I mean, sediment. This is why I lost sediment. And you can use morphology change plus sediment transport arrows pattern to identify this exchange through the channel and the sediment transport circulation. And it's very clear this is a sediment pathway. So we know this kind of typical pathway from north side to south. It tells us the bar developing this area. So this can tell us, okay, this should be our bar attachment location. However, in another way, by the wave to the north, you have another bypass, sediment pathway. So you also can get the sense where to locate the bypass attachment region. So those knowledge from CMS can help us get the idea, understand the morphology features, so we can model inlet morphology at Absecon Inlet. So this is a recent hydrosurvey data. You clearly can see the pattern of those developed inlet element, and that is place attachment bar. That's the place send from north side to the south, and vice versa. You can identify touch bar location and along the Bernstein. And other information also you can see the channel. So you can say this sediment path or exchange is very much multi-directional. And in a SMS model, we have a very good manual to handle those digital information. And plus, this dredging event you can add it to. Then the following, I will show you some results of GenCade shoreline simulations on the Absecon Inlet. Because I have a long-term data, 2003, 2011, 8-year was used for the validation and calibration of parameters, basically including all the information of beach field and the structure historically, and calibrate K1, K2, and also calibrate the structure feature. Structure feature in a model is measured by the bypass capability. We can consider permeability and the dimensions of structures. Now, this is a shoreline evolution and calibration period. This is our erosion hotspot region. This number is of the district is monitoring land, and this time series at this line from 2004 to 2011. Simulation results 9, and the samples observation at mean high water, and those arrows show the event of beach field. I didn't put every beach field on the picture. I didn't put the arrows for every beach field, but you can say the model captured this constant, persistent erosion very well, and along this area. And this is number 1, number 2, number 54, number 3, number 5, and number 11. And you can see clearly we have a sudden drop is because erosion because the storm event. So GenCade using wave and water surface elevation and those empirical model structure in the inlet reservoir model can simulate the long-term change and also including the seasonal and the annual change of shoreline position. So validation, again, we can use a calibrate parameter to continue the validation using also add new information because codes keep changing. During this period, you have new structure, seal or breakwater installed. Model can consider that. And this is typical results of shoreline history in this area. This is a 9-1 right here, 9-2, and 3-4, and then 9-3 is just through this seal. You can say the change impact by the beach fill is most, but because you have a structure, you have some very mixed information on the shoreline change. Our study very much interested in the overall performance of a model, and these two sections we call second compartment, third compartment. If we are resampling results from the calibration of validation, we'll get a 60 years long shoreline simulation. All those historical beach fill event well included that. So I think the results is really promising. And by the way, the background imager is the satellite imager from Google Earth, and the line is a simulated line the same day of the imager. So from that, you can convert your shoreline to the CMS file shown on Google Earth and compare with the historical imager. This is historical imager on the 2008, summer 2006, sorry, and May 2008, August 2011, and October 2014, and May 2015, and then November 16. I believe this shoreline model captured the major shoreline change along this island, particularly have a very good estimation of shoreline erosion, not only erosion rate, but also shoreline position, historical shoreline positions. And get a little bit insight, you can using longshore sediment transport rate and to understand the mechanism of erosion. This is just one driving force of shoreline change. I mean, the longshore sediment transport, but probably other force. This 6-year average longshore sediment transport tell us order is 500. This is a 500,000 cubic yard a year, almost the same to the order estimated by the transect change. So we can identify the features of beach morphology, beach shoreline change along the island, and we also can calculate the rate. Then back to the inlet bypass efficiency. We know inlet model can tell us through this volume change, if you have this much from updraft, how much to the downdraft, this historical change shown by those blue bars. Blue bars means this Absecon Island, this bar attachment area received from the updraft loss, and then red is vice versa. Of course, the order, the unit is very big, but the bar shows the event triggered by storm will not that long. And we use this longshore sediment transfer factor I presented before. This gamma just simply tell us how much this longshore sediment transfer received from the updraft. I'm sorry, I put this upside down. This should be downdrafted and updrafted. So let's say, look at this blue. Blue is the efficiency. How much percentage of longshore sediment received from this brigantine or pass from brigantine? Then you can say peak is about 23%, and compared with other side, the peak is 30%. Don't be confused by percent. Doesn't mean this bypass total amount to the brigantine is more than the Absecon. No, it's not like that. This is just once you have an event from north to south, you can have this kind of efficiency in the percentage. But once you have an event that bypass from south to north, and then bypass the speed or the efficiency a little bit higher than the opposite side. So this is an interesting. Interesting means naturally due to the development, this bypass features change with time, and then also change with local conditions. Also, we can report the results of volume change on the upshore. Then, because we have dredging show on the chart is a drop of volume. And compared with survey data, we think this reservoir model captured this features in the volumetric change pretty well. And this is just wave energy through this 16 years. With that, I put a few remarks over here. Just model good for the management and planning, but to have that model capture correctly the morphology features, we need ideally we need the observation data, more hydrosurvey data, but definitely CMS morphology changing model help us to understand that not only the pattern. I hope in the future we can use the simulation results, then can directly set up the reservoir model. So with that, thank you. Here are our sponsors for the project. And I always appreciate CIRP.